We got a road going on. This next comic is from Baltimore, Maryland. She is one of the people who made this year happen. Can I just say that? Can I get emotional? Aww. I get a little emotional. Jail about to go and shit. All right. So I do this festival so that black women. Did I say that part already to y'all? I said the last show. It's about making sure black women have a place where they can just be open and creative, because all the racism and misogyny that you face in everywhere else in life. Try doing that at a comedy club. That's weird as shit. You would think motherfuckers would be funny and make sense. But no, we gotta be vulnerable in front of a bunch of bigots and racists and sexist ass and weird ass people, and it's hard. You know what I'm saying? So we do this festival. Shut up. So we do this festival so black women have a place to be in front of audiences that want to come see them, that support them, and that's why we do it. So when things like it's hard to get funding, Essence gives us hell, there's a whole lot going on. So I experienced burnout too. And this particular festival this year wasn't going to happen. And it happened because Sports Drink, Always Lounge, 3116, our venues, and this next comic, literally like, Geneva, it's April. Who's coming? I'm like, nobody. Like, and then Geneva is May. I'm gonna go ahead and put the film festival together. I'm like, okay, I don't fuck I ain't doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Geneva, I got my flights. Did you make a flyer? No, I didn't. She's like, okay, the flyer's ready. Like, if it wasn't for this type of sisterhood, like, that's how the whole festival came about. Just black women supporting each other in their art. But this next comic, for real, I've been joking with her. Y'all seen The Color Purple, right? Yeah. Y'all remember the scene when they let Sophia out and she had to be Miss Millie Maid? And she was in the store with that list and she couldn't even read it. And Celia came out of nowhere and grabbed the list and she was like, when you came and grabbed that list, Miss Celia, that's when I knew there was a guy. And I just want to say thank you. Like dead ass, I'm about to cry. Dead ass, that is our venues in this next comic. Because when she started planning that festival and made the lineups, that's when I knew there was a guy. Put your hands together. Give it up for the amazing Musa.
Get me all emotional. Like I'm not a G out here. Woo, child. Yeah, give it up to Black Girl Giggles, man. This festival means a lot to me. A few years ago, I was coming to New Orleans because I got like a gig, kind of babysitting grown women at Essence, and I got like, free housing and got to go to all the concerts or whatever. And I used to go to school in Philly. Geneva's originally from Philly, and so one of her best friends is a mutual of mine. And she was like, I know you do comedy, do you know about this thing? And I was like, I saw it, but I'm really bad with deadlines. Like, I don't know why I'll see the date, and I'm like, I should submit this at 11:59. I never know what day it is. I'm one of them type of people. So then it's 2 days later, I'm like, dang, I ain't applied. And so I reached out, and she let me be on the show, and then I was kind of like tailing her like a little puppy a little bit. Like, I ended up there, it was like an industry brunch or something. I just ended up there, everybody looking at me like, what do you do? I only been doing comedy for maybe less than a year at that point. But everybody embraced me, and that was really awesome. And it was my first time feeling like home in comedy. You know what I'm saying? This is what's the importance of this festival, because as she said, most of us are very isolated in our spaces. A lot of times we're the only black woman present. But specifically with this one, y'all see the diversity and range and topics and what people talking about, you know what I mean? So continue to support. So last year when I came, I missed my flight. I don't even remember why I missed my flight, because I usually don't play about that. But they do flights different nowadays, don't they? Because it's like they'll tell you the time that they leave, but they don't tell you that they shutting the door like an hour before, I'm like, that's the time y'all should have on a ticket. I don't care when y'all flying off. Tell me when I'm supposed to be there. I remember back in the day when you could show up and then you could chase it down the runway. I'm old enough to remember those times. Because I could have made it. But anyway, I missed my flight, and I don't play about this festival, okay? It keeps me sane for the rest of the year, at least at best. You can be but so sane as a comedian. So I decided to drive. And I've done distances before, but I always just drive like up and down 95, you know? I live on the East Coast. I never went west. Every time I thought about going west, I started thinking about like sundown towns, hurricanes, you know what I'm saying? Like I just kept imagining all the worst things that could happen on I-10, you know? And when I'm on 95, like I know exactly where it's okay for me to stop. I know the signs, but I never drove this way before, and I was driving myself and I didn't know the signs. You know, I didn't want to be in a situation where I was in a random town and it wasn't the right time for gas. So I had to orient myself. I had to be like, I got to figure out the signs. I got to figure out like a modern green book situation. Like how can I tell if somewhere is safe? And you know, a couple years ago, they made it so like people couldn't put their Confederate flags up, you know? Which I hate. Like, I want to know. I want to know exactly where I'm not supposed to be. Put the white only signs back up too. I don't. Listen, put them back. I don't need to walk in somewhere and it's like, girl, like, no, I need to just pass by it. And then when they stopped doing the Confederate flags, then you just started seeing like Trump 2024 flags in them places. And he didn't even announce he was running again. This was like in 2021 or like whatever. But that was like the new Confederate flag. So that was part of it, right? So that was starting to dwindle down as well, you know, a couple years ago because he had already been back in office. So I started looking at the billboards. So when I pass by a more conservative town, I'm not going to act like, again, that only Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana have these type of towns. Maryland got them too. But again, I know where to go and where not to go. Everywhere got them. And I started noticing patterns. Can anybody yell out what they think when I went past a more conservative town? I actually didn't hear Charlie Kirk until he died. I was just like, what? I was like, I don't know who we're talking about. I can hear less about this white man, but white lives matter. I don't know. So when you passing through a conservative town, so if you ever on a road trip, I'm gonna help you out. When you passing through a conservative town, one of the first billboards you're gonna see right away is like a gun store ad, right? Right. But that's not enough. On the other side of the road, across from the gun store ad, there also has to be a like, you're going to hell because you killed your baby sign. TryJesus.com. That's got to be there too. But it's a trifecta. You see these two signs, and once the next sign is girls, next exit, just keep driving. Just keep driving. You ain't supposed to be there. So it's not enough to know what's unsafe. I had to figure out what was safe. And so when I started to get to more urban centers or black centers, and it never failed, you start seeing injury law attorneys. I don't know what's that about. And now, it used to be you go through these different cities. As soon as I hit Atlanta, as soon as I hit Charlotte, as soon as I hit, the black part, everywhere. I call like the Bible Belt. That's little Africa, like Alabama. So I ain't gonna say the black part of Alabama. We know it's mostly black people. But they would have specific like injury lawyers that's specific to the area because bars you gotta pass in like specific states. Now it's all Morgan and Morgan. It's all Morgan and Morgan. You start driving through and start hearing Top Dog Law commercials, and the Top Dog Law commercials is weird. You're just like, you just got in an accident. Oh my God! I can't believe they hit me. Top Dog Law. Anyway, that's just some pointers so y'all understand. But anyway, I really love coming to New Orleans. Again, I'm from Baltimore. New Orleans is a sister city, you know what I mean? Like, we have very similar culture. And, I had people my whole life kind of calling me weird, but it started in like middle school, and I'm like, y'all are weird. You know what I mean? Like middle schoolers are weird. So I just didn't take it seriously. So it wasn't until maybe like last year when I was in New Orleans and I was at a club. And I'm kind of the boring person at the club. Like I'm the friend babysitter. I'm the designated driver. So I'm just sitting in the corner not really interacting. And this guy comes over to talk to me. And, you know, he found out I was from Baltimore. And I think he said something about sister cities. Well, I said it. And I would, you know, we were just like, yeah, you know, we both like seafood. We both have like dance music. We both do footwork. And I was just like, oh, yeah. And it was the slave trade between the two cities, and that's the reason. And it took me a minute to realize that's not party conversation. And I was like, all right, they might have been right. They clocked it when I was 11. They was like, you're a little strange. You're a little strange. So as y'all can see, like I'm into history. I'm a history buff, and I've never been like a super pro-America type person. But I ain't gonna lie, I kind of was excited about like America 250 because America just know how to party. Like I mean, like I thought they was really going to do something. Like in 1976, like my father has a school picture from '76, and they got the bicentennial. Like they had bicentennial everywhere, Harlem Trotters everywhere, you know, Globetrotters everywhere. I thought they was really going to go all out. And instead, they had wrestling on the lawn. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, what pisses me off about Trump and this whole administration the most, I know there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, like ICE and people losing their jobs, but the thing that pissed me off the most is how niggerly he can be. Obama couldn't be that niggerly. He ain't taking advantage, and I don't like that. We're gonna have to have a new black president so we can be on the lawn twerking or something. We can be freaking on the White House lawn. We're gonna have wrestling. That's the whitest thing. They're gonna have NASCAR next. Like, are you serious? And honestly, I think that's one of the reasons why I like Kamala lost. Because, and look, I said her name right because I think it should be Kamala, but Kamala lost. Kamala lost because both of them was kind of pandering to black people, right? But like, Kamala was trying to pander to African Americans, and Trump was pandering to niggas, you know? And I'm pro nigga. I am pro nigga. I'm from Baltimore. I'm pro nigga. But and we're in a niggly time, you know what I mean? So Kamala and her people are like on a campaign, and it was like, you can't vote for that felon with 6 baby mothers. And all the niggas was like, why not? That's unfair. What are you trying to say, Kamala? It's not the time for that. Trump was selling sneakers and Bibles. I just knew he was about to go for a fish fry next. All right, y'all been fun. I'm gonna leave. Enjoy the rest of the night.
Give it up for me and Musa. Mia curated our mini film festival this year. We had it here earlier today. Amazing film festival. Also, she